And we are live. So hello everybody. I hope you can hear me loud and clear. I welcome you all into today's session where we will go ahead and talk about coding for absolute beginners. Well, getting started on your path to becoming a programmer or a software developer can feel a bit intimidating. There are lots of programming languages, frameworks, technologies available, and choosing the best option to learn in the beginning can be a bit difficult. So if you're looking for the best programming language to learn, if you're looking for the best pathway to learn, that is what we will be discussing in today's session. And in order to go ahead and do that, I have with us today Gerson Ariche. Gerson is a veteran turned developer. After serving in the US Marine Corps, he decided to pursue his passion for coding and pursue a career in technology. He is currently doing his research in IoT and has a passion for embedded systems, web and mobile development, data analytics, cloud services with AWS IoT. He holds experience in multiple programming languages, including C, JavaScript, Node.js, Python, React, and he has deep understanding of Google Firebase and is able to create applications for both web and mobile platforms with React and React Native. He is committed to staying up to date with the latest advancement in technology and is always striving to expand his knowledge base. So without further ado, let me go on and pass on the mic to him so that he can go ahead and get this session kickstarted. Gerson, the mic is all yours. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing today? Let's see. Are you guys able to hear me?
Yes, we can.
Good. All right. Awesome. All right. So my name is Gerson Ariche, and I'll be your instructor for this webinar. All right. So for this webinar, we're going to be going over the basic of coding for the absolute beginner. So when building this webinar, I was like thinking, right off the bat, I was like thinking, let's go straight to coding. But I had to think about it back right in the past when I was a complete beginner where I didn't know anything. So as a complete beginner, there was a lot of questions that I was like thinking. So where should I start? What should I do? What language do I need to study? What career path? So in the programming world, there's a lot of paths that you can take. All right. All right. So give me 1 second. Okay. So the next section. So what is coding? Do you guys have any idea what is coding? Yes, no, maybe. All right. So coding is basically just giving the instruction to the computer. So it's a process of giving the instruction to the computer. So it's like having a conversation. So let's pretend that the computer is like a child. So when a child want to learn something, you will need like a step-by-step process. So that's pretty much what like coding is, right? So coding is like a step-by-step process that you give instruction to the computer. So that process can be basically asking it to fetch data from like the database or try to grab data from API at Best Buy or doing math calculation. Or maybe if you're like a game developer, maybe having like a character like do some animation or movement, right? So basically what coding is just basically you having a conversation with the computer and you're telling the computer what you want to do. So that can be basically what I just said. So just grabbing data from the database or, giving instruction to a character to do some type of movement, all right? So what is the coding world like, right? So in the coding world and the tech world, this can be like a very, very, very exciting field, as well as very, very fun. You get to play with a lot of cool toys. You get to learn like a lot of cool things. You get to build some cool project. And at the same time, it can be a little frustrating. There are going to be times where you end up like learning some type of technology that you're not really familiar, and just learning it can be like super frustrating. And then you kind of like just feel like you're just not just progressing from there. So, and that's like perfectly normal for everybody, every developer, every coder. will get to that point where they will play with a new technology that they have never experienced before, and they will get frustrated. Also, it provides you a lot of freedom. So in the coding world, you have many endless opportunity you can go. You can like work for like a big tech company, and due to COVID, we have now remote job where people can just work from home. I'm seeing a lot of developer who just decided on, you know what, I want to be like a digital nomad, and they use their skill of coding to do that, to achieve that type of goal. So they just go out, like let's say, to countries like let's say in Latin America or Asia, and they just work for a company and they just develop software. And when while they're developing software, they go out and travel. So that's a one type of experience you get from the coding world. Another type of experience that you get is also on creativity. So a lot of people who start off coding don't really have that, probably didn't have that creative background when they were younger. So coding will allow you to explore your creative side. So when you try like solve a problem, you automatically have to think outside the box. So let's say you need to calculate a certain mathematical formula, and you're not that good at math. So how would you proceed to solve that? So you have to like step in and just pretty much break down whatever problem step by step, and just tackle it head on. Other time you also get experience with other technology. Let's say if you're like a game developer. So a game developer get exposed to multiple technology. So let's say graphic design. So that right there, we just type in your creativity, as well as like building websites. So if you want to build like a functioning website that's like easy to the user or like very user friendly, you need to think like in a creative manner. So coding will allow you to basically open up a lot of doors that you won't really fathom, and it's very fast paced. So you have to like learn a lot of new technology at a short amount of time. All right. Okay. Okay, give me just 1 second. All right. So what are the benefit of learning how to code? All right. So when you learn how to code, it'll help improve your problem solving skill. All right. So when you get a problem, basically, let's say you get stuck in a problem, like you need to add a X type of feature into your software. All right. So how would you do that? So normally, one beginner's mistake is just tackle it head on. But when you try to do that, you will end up hitting like a major roadblock, and then you'll be frustrated. But in a professional manner, you want to look at the problem and just pretty much just break it down step by step. Okay. So when you break it down step by step, you will end up using all your resource to figure out what you need in order to figure that specific problem. So your problem solving skill will end up increasing. Now going back with creativity, it will also enhance your creativity. So you will end up using your skill to build some cool projects. So that cool project can be like, let's say, a mobile app, or it can be building a game, or it can be building, let's say, some type of software. So it will end up enhancing your creativity. I know a lot of people that have met, when they started off coding, they didn't really have that great creativity. But as soon as they got into like a professional level, they are able to utilize their skill to end up creating products, like let's say like a mobile app. Not only they able to create a product like a mobile app, they were also able to generate income with it, and as well as financial reward. So it's kind of like well known that like the soft just going into like software and the software field, there's like a lot of benefit in the financial sectors. So you'll be like good financially. All right. Okay. So what are the first steps to becoming a programmer? All right. So basically, so what you want to do is like write down what do you want to do as a programmer. So I know a lot of beginner had come up to me asking me, I want to learn how to code, and how would I do it? Okay. Coding is very, very big, and is like very like a general. All right. So a lot of field do coding. So what field interests you? All right. So are you like a creative person? If you're like not a creative person or you have zero interest in good tradings, I would not recommend like doing game dev. Likewise, are you like an analytic person? All right, there's a specific field that does mainly analytic, and that is like data science and artificial intelligence. So if you're like an analytic person who like to analyze, let's say, data, or do like mathematical problem, like data science and as well as artificial intelligence is like a great field for you. Likewise, if you're like a creative person and you want to do something very, very creative, I would recommend, let's say, do mobile development or web development, maybe also game development. All right. So you gotta ask yourself, so what is my strength and what do I actually want to pursue? All right. So let's say for me, so I'm a creative person. So I prefer to do mostly user interface, like doing mobile development and web development. But I also have like a little bit of analytic, but I mostly like to build like user interface for like my IoT product. So that's like where my passion end up focusing on. So you have to like write down what are you interested in, what's your greatest strength and what is your greatest weakness. Okay. Okay. So after you wrote down what is your strength, where is your weakness, what is your interest, now you need to ask yourself, where should I start? All right. So you already got the why part of why you want to become a programmer and what is your greatest strength. But now how do I accomplish that? How do I become a programmer? So as example, I'm a creative person and I want to become a web dev. So where should I start? First, you need to do some research. Basically, what you want to do is just find out what technology do I need to learn to become a web dev. All right. Not only I need to look for the technology, I need to look for what research do I need to use? Where do I need to go learn? Would I take like the self teaching route? Would I go to college? Would I do like boot camp? You can come to Corel and then we can help you on this part. All right. So here's some like online research that a lot of developers would use when like tackling this type of like when they try like learn technology, right? So Google is like your number one friend when it comes to coding. So every software developer, data analytics, cybersecurity analyst, game developer would utilize Google. In order to be like a very good programmer, you need to like learn how to use Google when like you're solving problems as well as YouTube. So YouTube is a great resource to like learn any type of skill, as well as Stack Overflow. So a Stack Overflow is kind of like the programming world for Reddit. So it's basically like if you have like a question on something or like you have an issue, you will post like you post your problem of coding inside the website, and then you have other developers and professional will help answer you that question. As well as my favorite like W3 and tutorial page. So here I just like look over a new technology and just learn like the fundamental. All right. Okay. All right. So now that you decided what's my greatest strength, what's my weakness, what path I want to take, as well as the research I'm going to learn and how I'm going to do it. Now, how long does it take to learn programming and the technology that I want to pursue? It depends, right? So there's no set duration. It's all on up to you, all right? So it's depending like how much knowledge and as well as how much dedication. So like let's say with someone who has like zero computer literacy, so they don't really know how to use a computer, all right? And they try to learn and only pull in, let's say, 4 hours a week. They're probably going to take like a little longer, maybe like 2 years or 3 years. Likewise, if someone who's like a little more dedicated or has more experience with computer and like put in like let's say 3 hours a day, 15 hours a week of like learning programming, then that person might learn like the stack in like in a year. So it really depends on the individual. So I can't give you the exact answer. And on top of that, you also have to factor in that technology is always changing. So what you learn right now might be end up differing in a couple of years. Or likewise, maybe you have reached to that point, but you want to take a different avenue. So that can also add more to your time. So it's really depend on the individual level. All right. Okay. All right. So what is the best programming language to learn? All right. So if you are an individual who have zero knowledge of coding, I would recommend learning Python. So Python is like one like the best beginner programming language. So it's very, very easy to use. So the language is kind of like the English syntax language. So there's a lot. So in other programming language, that you have like certain syntax you have to like follow. While Python, you don't really have that much syntax. You still have syntax, but it's a little more easier for beginner. All right. And then with Python was like I decided to go with the Python. All right. So what can I do with Python? All right. So if you take like Python route, you have the option to do, let's say, go into like the web stack, all right? So with Python, you can do like a backend, you can work with the backend, and there are like web frameworks that help you do with the backend, all right? So such as Flask and Django. As well as if you have an interest of like doing analytic or mathematical research or artificial intelligence, Python is very heavily used in that area. All right. Okay. Now we have JavaScript. All right. So JavaScript is mainly used for the web. All right. So if you have like a knack of creativity and building like user interface, like such as like website, you can like use JavaScript. All right. And JavaScript is mainly used to make your page more interactive. So let's say if you want to, let's say there's like a button, all right, and a user click on a button and you wanted to do like some like an event, like make a circle spin around or have a have a have a or do like a math calculation, right? So JavaScript is used for using to interact with the website, all right? And then I put Java and C sharp. So this one is a very popular language in like in a major corporation, right? So let's say you want to focus on pursuing on the company, not I mean the enterprise route. You want to work in a large like Fortune 500 company. Many company would use like Java and C sharp using object-oriented programming language. And the reason for this is because it's very stable. All right. So a lot of beginner would tend to be put off by Java just because it's a little more typing compared to Python. All right. So if you like to start learning Python and Java, you will see like a major difference. So when you code in Python, it's a little more faster to build, while in Java, it will take a little more time. All right. And then another one beginner question will be, so why would I use Java? I mean, why would I use Java when Python is a little more faster to program? And the simple reason is that Java is a little more stable, all right? So if you build a project, like let's say 20 years ago, that project will still be working under Java. And on top of that, a lot of libraries and packages will still be like commercially used and usable, all right? Okay, okay. So what is the future for coders, all right? So technology is here to stay, all right? So technology will always gonna be here and it's gonna always gonna keep on improving and innovating. So there's always gonna be like a software that you're gonna need or that gonna require a coder to maintain as well as to build and to add feature. And as technology progresses, it will be a lot more easier to do coding, all right? So tools such as ChatGPT, which is like an AI text-based algorithm, I mean AI program, a text-based program where you basically communicate with it, right? You can ask them, can you translate a language from English to Spanish, and we'll do it for you. You can ask ChatGPT, can you spit out some basic boilerplate for my gaming program, and it will actually spit out for you. You ask it to do some math calculation, it will still do that for you. You ask it for tips on how to build my YouTube channel, it will actually do that for you, right? So you're gonna see in the future that a lot of companies gonna be using AI, such as ChatGPT, to work with in software, all right? As well as online research, I mean, online learning, right? So online learning has become kind of like, I won't say a new thing, but in the recent decade, it has exploded, especially during the pandemic, where a lot of learning has done online. Even right now, I'm doing a seminar on online. So we're providing a lot of lecture. No, we're providing a lot of resource and tools online, and that for program is a lot easier. So they will be learning stuff online as well as endless opportunity, all right? So the skill that you learn in one area, it can be transferred over to another, all right? So let's say if you devoted all your time in learning data analytic, all right? So you learn like the data structure, you learn how to code in Python, you learn how to code in R, you learn like the database, you learn how to clean up the data, put the data into a model, use the AI to predict data, all right? But let's say you kind of got tired of doing the data analytic and you just want to transfer over to like the web dev. So that skill will still transfer over because you still have to like think like a programmer and you need to break it down step by step and use your creativity to solve problem. And that can be transferred over to other fields like such as like game development or cybersecurity. All right. Okay. So how can I start a career in coding? All right. So you would need to pick a coding discipline. So picking back on the what technology you're interested. So you need to find what technology interests you, all right? And once you pick that technology, you gotta learn how to like pretty much you have to master that technology. You have to like learn what you need to learn, how to do it, and pretty much just build project with that. All right. So when you build project, you can build like portfolio and use that to show off your skill to other employers, or you can actually use your project to like monetize it. Right. Okay. So career path and tip for starting. All right. So okay, so I'm gonna go over like some like the career path. All right. So let's say you want to be a web developer. All right. So what is a web developer? So it's basically a programmer that build website. All right. Any website you can think of, let's say Google, Amazon, YouTube, those are website, and those are built by web developer. And in order to build those websites, you would need learn certain technology, which we're gonna be working on today. So one of that technology will be HTML, which is a markup language used to add content, CSS, which is used to style your web page, and JavaScript, which is used to make your page interactive. All right. The next career path is data science. All right. Data science is basically the process of finding data. Finding data's from pattern. Finding patterns and insight from data. All right. So if you're like a type of person who like to look at graphs and numbers and like to do like a lot of analytic work, I recommend going over the data science route. All right. So with the data science route, you can also work with artificial intelligence. And right now, and the artificial intelligence is actually pretty much booming. Okay. What if you're like more of a creative person and you want to create like stories and like make user interact with your game world, all right? You can take the game developer route, all right? In the game developer route, you will learn like game engines such as like say Unity or Unreal Engine. And in that engine, basically is an engine where you get to build your game. You get to design the rule, design the level, design the gameplay, design the character, design the art and animation, and have it all pretty much interact with each other. All right. Okay. And then here's another piece of technology. All right. So for every technology that we all build, how we going to secure it? All right. So there's always bad actors that trying to like sabotage the technology. All right. So they try to look for like vulnerability, like let's say like they try to look for financial information to steal. All right. So those type of technology need to be protected. All right. And there's a field for that. There's an area for that specific field called cybersecurity. All right. So cybersecurity is basically a field where we need to protect technology. All right. We need to make technology secure. All right. So nothing can be worse when like you build a product and turn out that product end up costing you money and it's not gonna be like a good situation. It can be very stressful. All right. And cybersecurity is just pretty much that, just pretty much making your product and technology secure. Okay. All right. So now that you chosen a career path, now how would I make money with that? All right. So you got like multiple options. So here's like the three main options. So the most popular option is actually work for a company. All right. So when you work for a company, you get to utilize your skill and they will pay you for your service. And likewise, you can do freelancing. I know that's another popular field. A lot of people love to be a freelancer because they provide them more, pretty much more time for themselves. Or you can also take it into if you like if you're the type of person who like to build like an entrepreneur or like take risks, you can actually build a product and start a business with it. All right. Just because you know how to code doesn't mean you can just work for one company. You can actually build your own product and actually sell it. Right. There has been many developers like Mark Zuckerberg who actually built his own product and then it reached to the masses. Right. Okay. All right, so coding tips and how to improve as a coder. So what you need to do is just focus on one area, all right? So this is one mistake that I had made when I was a beginner. So I didn't really focus on one area. I just focused on multiple areas. So I went from learning web dev 1 month to data analytics for 3 months, then game development, cybersecurity. So I was shooting my shot in every place, all right? So that's kind of happening for a lot of beginner. Once they already learn the fundamental, they are automatically they want to try out all the technology in the world. All right. So I won't say it's a bad thing, but it's like a very common pitfall. So you just focus on too many areas. So it's best to focus on one area. All right. Another area is you need to dedicate learning your craft, all right? So you have to be consistent on learning coding. You have to like learn like kind of every day, just spend time just practicing, all right? So that and this applied for any type of skill. So you have to like dedicate on a daily basis, all right? As well as not getting stuck in tutorial, all right? So this is a beginner's mistake. A lot of beginner we just focus on just learning tutorial, and just stay stuck on it, all right? So there should be like a limit where you just be stuck in the tutorial and you should move on to actually building something, all right? And then the final part is actually having a positive attitude. All right. So I know at the beginning it's gonna be extremely frustrating. You're just not getting it. You're like, you just learn like the if statement and you're just not sure how to use the if statement, and you just kind of just want to get up. All right. Every programmer have been into that point. All right. So what you need to do is just keep it positive. You won't master overnight. It will take time and time and time and a little bit of frustration and also some coffee. So coffee will help on this situation. All right, you just keep a positive attitude and just keep working. All right. I got over the theory part. Now we're going to do the fun part, all right? Which is actually programming. All right. So let's get hacking. Okay. So for coding, we're going to get started with Python. All right. So I'm going to teach you the fundamental of Python. And then from there, I'm going to also teach you the fundamental of web dev, where we learn HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. All right. And in order for us to use those two, we're going to use what is called a cloud IDE. And this will allow us to write our code. All right. So the tool we're going to use is called Replit. All right. So I'm going to post the link. All right. So give me 1 second. All right. I'm going to post the link on the chat, and you guys will need to like register. All right. Okay. Give me 1 second. All right, so let me see, stop sharing. Okay. All right, so I just posted the link on the chat. All right, are you guys able to see my Replit page?
Yes, we can.
All right. Okay, so when you guys go in, all right, so it's not gonna appear like this, all right? So if you guys not register, you're gonna ask you for like a register page, all right? So I will give you guys a few minutes. All right, so I'll give you guys a few minutes for register, and in 2 minutes we can get started, all right? All right, so what do you guys need a little more time? Or are you guys able to register? All set. All right. Let me wait two more. Let me get two more. Anybody need more time? Okay. All right. So once you're over here, so this is Replit. All right. So this is like a popular cloud IDE that allow you to build any type of technology. All right. So if you want to get started, you want to click on create. Okay. From there, you want to go to Python. All right. So actually, before you go to Python, let's go over like the template. All right. So with this, you have multiple type of technology. So you got Python, you got C++, you got Node.js, C, Java, C Sharp, as well as servers such as web server, PHP, and frameworks as React. All right. So you can get started with any type of language. All right. So all right. So I'm gonna click with Python. All right. All right, so when you click on Python, I'm going to change the title. So I'm going to do like webinar. I'm going to type webinar, webinar Python. All right. From there, you want to click create replit. You create replit, it will take you to this page. Okay. So, all right. So on the left-hand side is going to be where all your files is. So you're going to have what is called a main.py. All right. And this is where all your coding going to be in. All right. So all your coding is going to be in here. And then all your package is going to be in pyproject.tml, TOML. All right. Okay, so this is where if you want to download like a certain library or a certain framework, this is where you're gonna be installing it. All right. But we're gonna mainly focus on main.py. All right. So we're just gonna focus on this part. All right. Okay. So in the middle of the section where you see like the blinking, this is where you're gonna actually generate your code. All right. So this is where you can give instruction to the computer. Okay. And then on the right-hand side, this is where all your information is going to display. So this is called the console. All right. So in the middle is the code editor, and on the right side is the console. All right. All right. So let's do one of the most beginner of the beginner line of code, which is to print out a hello world. All right. How can we? Okay. You say how can we join? All right. Have you created a replit? Mabagha? All right. So I just posted a link. And then when you post a link, you should register. And then when you register, it should log you into like the main page. All right. And then look for where it says create. All right. You create and you will create on Python. Okay. Were you able to get it? Bagahad? Did I pronounce your name right? Okay. All right. So, all right. I'm gonna get started. All right. So I'm gonna do one of the most beginner. So I'm gonna test it out. All right. So what I'm gonna use is a key statement called print. All right. So this print is a function, all right? So we're gonna learn that a little more later down the webinar, all right? So just remember the keyword function, all right? So I'm gonna explain it a little later down the road, all right? So this is what a print look like. Print followed by parenthesis, okay? All right, so what this does, it will allow me to add information. It will allow me to print information to the console, all right? So how would I print out information to the console, all right? So let's try to add a string of text, all right? So if I want to add a string of text, I will need to add it inside of a double quotation mark. All right, just like this. All right. Now that I have a double quotation mark, then I can add text to it. All right. So I'm gonna type in hello world. All right. So once you have this, then you can click on run. All right. Or for shortcut, if you're like me, you would use Control Enter. But let's just click on Control Run, and it will print out into the console. Okay. All right. So let me know. Just give me a thumbs up if you guys were able to get it. Thumbs up. Nope. Yes. Maybe. All right. We got some thumbs up. All right. And then who didn't get it? If you didn't get it, just give me a thumbs down. Okay, so it look like I'm getting thumbs up. All right. So yeah, that's the best. That's the most that's like the basic. All right. So print is a function, and what that does, it will display information to the console. All right. So why would we need the text inside double quotation mark? All right. So the next we're gonna be learning is data type. All right. So anything that's in enclosure of double quotation mark is what is known a string, all right? And basically, a string is a text inside of a quotation mark. Is a combination or a lengthy combination of text inside of a double quotation mark, all right? So anytime you want to add text, it need to be inside a double quotation mark, all right? Likewise, you can also add numbers. Oh, I did it? All right, so, okay. I'm going to post this code as well, all right? So, all right. Were you guys able to get to this point? So it should have print, followed by parenthesis, followed by a double quotation mark, and then you add some word, all right? So I also posted the code inside the chat, right? So when you copy that code, you need to post it on the code editor, and then you click on run. Okay. Okay. All right. So, okay. So with this, you can also print out numeric value, all right? So if I want to print numeric value, actually, first I'm going to remove the text, all right? I'm going to put like, let's say 100, right? So this is still considered a string, right? All right, but if I want to add just numeric value, all right, I can just do 100. So without the double quotation mark, all right? Okay, so 100 without the double quotation mark is different than 100 with it, all right? So actually, before I go even further, I'm going to show you something important, all right? So in many programming language, there's this thing called comments, all right? And comments basically give you a quick description of the program. For this, I'm going to use it as notes so that way you guys can like remember what is what, all right? So to do a comment in Python, what you want to do is add a hashtag, all right? And a hashtag basically means you're just giving a description of what's going on, all right? It's basically meant for the programmer, all right, not for the computer. The computer will just look at the comment and kind of ignore it, all right? So the comment is not gonna really do much when we run our code. It's just gonna skip it, all right? So the comment is mainly for the programmer, all right? And I'm gonna just write comment this. I'm gonna do a quick description. Print is mainly to print in the console, all right? So you wanna just give a description for yourself, all right? Just to understand what's going on with your code, all right? Okay. Okay. So let's go on further, all right? So if I wanna so the next topic we're gonna learn is variables, all right? And I'm gonna add a comment. Before I go discussing variable, I'm gonna add a comment. Variables is used to store value, all right? So a variable is basically used to store value, all right? Or data. So that value or data can be anything. It can be your age, your favorite hobby, maybe a book price or a location or maybe you're trying to solve some mathematical formula and you're storing those values. Basically, just think of a variable just storing values to the computer in a memory unit, right? So that's what a variable is, right? In order to create a variable, you need to just create up a name, right? So you can use most name. There are certain names that you can use that are just reserved to Python. So there are like keywords, but you can use most word, all right? So I'm going to do, let's say, my name. All right. I want to create a variable of my name and store that value. All right. So I'm going to create a variable called name. All right. And if I want to add value to it, you need to add a equal sign. All right. And then I want to add text. All right. In order to add text in Python or any other programming language, it needs to be inside of a double quotation mark, similar to print. All right. I'm gonna add it back here. Hello world. All right. So name. So I'm gonna add my name to it. All right. Gerson Areche. Okay. All right. So pretty much this is how you create a variable. All right. So when you create a variable, so this is basically okay. So when you create a variable, you have to make sure that you're not using reserved keywords. So there are certain keywords that you can't use. So I believe the word this. So this def. So reserve keywords. Reserve keywords can't be used, such as this, def, while. Let's see, we got while or for. All right. There's like certain keywords that we can use. All right. And that is mainly used for other things. All right. But majority, like 99% of the words that you can use is you can create it. All right. So all you gotta do is just make up a name, add an equal value, and add some value. I mean, equal sign and add some value. All right. All right. So now that we create a variable, all right. So what can we do with that variable? All right. So we can actually print it out at console. Same way how I print hello world or the word or the number 100. We can print out those values. All right. So I'm gonna type print parenthesis and name. All right. And then it's gonna print out my name. All right. And now probably some of you might end up being a little confused. It's like, wait, what's going on? Didn't you said that anything, any text need to be in double quotation marks? So why is name not in double quotation mark? And the reason for it is because it's a variable. All right. So now as a variable, it has the value. So I can actually print out that value. All right. So if I want to print out the actual value, the hard code, the value, I will have to have that in double quotation mark. But if that value is actually inside a variable, then you can actually print out the value. So such as Gerson or Redshift, right? So I'm gonna also paste this code on the chat if you guys get stuck on it. So you can just edit out the name and put your own name, right? So just give me a thumbs up if you guys able to get it. Thumbs up. All right, we got one thumbs up. All right, awesome. Okay, kind of easy, guys. Pretty easy, medium, difficult. What do you guys think? Give me a thumbs up. Is it easy? All right, good to hear. All right. Okay. All right. So now that we're able to create a print function, I mean, we're able to print value onto the console, as well as create value and store it with a variable and print out the value on the variable. We need to go over the different type of data types. All right. Okay. All right. So in most programming languages, they usually contain 4 different data types. All right. So what is this data type you're talking about? All right. So they're basically the value of the data. I mean, the type of value is it. All right. So the first one we have gone over is basically a collection of a string of text, and this is considered a string. All right. And I'm gonna type in a comment. All right. Comment hashtag string data. I mean, string is equal to text collection of text inside of quotation mark. Okay. So that's the first data type. All right. So if you're trying to build like sentence or paragraph, you would need to use a string. All right. So next data type is called a integer. All right. All right. So when I'm writing the comment, you don't have to write it word per word. All right. So this is just notes. All right. So if you have like a better way of redefining it to make it easier for yourself, you feel free to do so. All right. So comment is mainly for you guys. All right. So it's basically to make the code a little more easier to read. All right. So this is just notes for you guys. All right. Okay. So integer are basically whole values, whole numbers. All right. Whole value slash numbers. All right. An example of it be, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 100, 1,000, maybe 25. So anything number value, all right? And integer value do not have to be in double quotation mark, all right? All right. And also, so before I go even further, so let's say we have two different value, all right? Actually, I'm going to put it 1 and 1, all right? So in programming, even though this is actually a 1, and this is also 1, they're actually two different values, all right? One is actually is a string type of value, all right? So this is not the same as 1, which is an integer data type. So those two values are totally different, all right? So one is actually a string, which is in double quotation mark, and one is an integer, all right? So this is a lot of beginner mistake when they're learning code. So they think that if you put a numeric value inside of a double quotation mark, it will still be an integer. That will be incorrect because it's in double quotation mark, and that will be a string. Okay. And I'll put is not the same thing. All right. All right. The next one is called a float. All right. And then float data are basically decimal value. All right. So I'll put decimal value. An example will be, let's say 1.5, 20, 20.9, 37.8, 100, 100.1. All right. Anything with a decimal value is a float. Okay. So a float. So if you have just a whole number, like say 100, 100 is not the same thing as 100.1. Or let's say I'm gonna put 100, 100.0. All right. 100 and 100.0 are two different data type value. All right. So one is an integer and one is a float. Right. So when you see decimal value, just can think of it as a float data type. All right. And then the last one is called Boolean. All right. All right. And this is just true or false. All right. True or false. All right. So this is basically if the statement is true, it's true. If the statement is false. All right. So an example, let's say this person, let me see. Yeah. All right. True or false. All right. So if let's say an statement, let's say if the person, let's an example. If a person like pineapple pizza, we ask a question to the user, all right? Do we like pineapple pizza? True or false? All right. And that's pretty much what a true or false value is. All right. Okay. So how would I use those type of data? All right. So I'm gonna create 4 variables. All right, with different data type. Okay. So I'm gonna create let's say I'm gonna go ahead with the string. So name is equal to Gerson Areche. So this is a string data type. String data type. Okay. Integer data type. Let's see age. I'm gonna put age. All right. And I'll put let's say 28. All right. Integer. Okay. Next one is a float. Let's say I'm trying to think. I'll put like say earning. All right. or maybe, yeah, I feel like random earning. All right. Ooh, let me see. Put 117.8. What happened? Okay, so I think it just okay. I just got a random error. All right. Okay. So float. I mean, this is yeah, float data type. And then we got Boolean. All right. So Boolean, let's say like pizza. And I put like say true. All right. Okay. All right. So now I just created 4 different value. All right. All right. So I'm going to print out that value. All right. So print name, print age, print earning, and then print like pizza. All right. So, all right. So I have a string data type right here, integer, float value, and Boolean. All right. All right. So, all right. So don't worry if you guys kind of got stuck. All right. So I know this is like a lot of information. All right. But don't worry if you get kind of like feeling confused. All right. So you kind of like start learning more as you progress. Okay. All right. So were you guys able to print 4 different data type or print out the value? Just give me a thumbs up. Okay. All right. So give me 1 second. All right. All right. So here's a cool thing with like Python. All right. So do we have any math lovers? Anybody who like math? Just give me a thumbs up. All right. So you can do like mathical you can do a mathical math operation in Python. All right. Okay. So I'm gonna start coming out some of the code. All right. So in order to come out of code, you just add a hashtag at the beginning. All right. Hashtag. Okay. So I'm just gonna add a hashtag, and then we're gonna do some mathematical operation. Okay. All right. So let's say so we're gonna do in the more simpler term. All right. We're gonna use a print function. All right. So I'm gonna use print and do some math operation. All right. So I'm gonna add a random value. All right. So let's say what is 100 plus 5? All right. So Python can actually understand what you're asking. So it's asking you to give 2 values and add it up. All right. All right. So if I do this, 105. All right. Okay. Or I can do, let's say, 10 times 32. I'll shoot 35. 10 times 35. 350. Or I can do like some subtraction. Even I can do subtraction with this. And it actually even give you like the negative value. So you can do like math operation. You can do like some crazy number. Let's say 1 million to times, let's say 5. And it will actually spit out like a value too. So any type of number you wanna like do some math operation, you can actually do it in Python. All right. So with this, you can actually like say build like let's say formulas to do some calculation. Let's say calculating the area of a rectangle, or do some slope formula, or do some like calculus problems. You can build programs just for that specific scenario. All right, so Python is actually pretty good at that. And there are also a lot of libraries to do math operation, as well as you can do like statistic and calculating average and doing like statistic analysis. All right. Okay, so we can do like we can do addition, subtraction, division, as well exponent. All right. Okay, so we can do that, and we can do like exponent. Let's say 2 to the power of 3. So you would need to add 2 asterisk. And then give us the value, all right? Or I can do like 3 to the power of 3. And 27, right? So I'm gonna comment on the math operation, all right? So you can do like addition, fraction, multiplication, division, and then I'll do like put like math operation, and then exponent. All right. All right. Were you guys able to get it, or is it a little confusing? Thumbs up. All right. All right. Awesome. Okay. Yeah. All right. So we got the print value, printing, data type, creating variables, and also storing values. All right. All right. So let's see. All right. So here's one thing. So one thing. So we're gonna learn like the if statement. All right. So what is the if statement? All right. So let's go back when we were talking about creating a variable. So there's like certain reserve word that we can use. All right. Oops, I think add if. All right. So one of the reserve word is if. So when you create a variable, you can't use the if word. All right. And the reason for that is because it's used to do some functionality. All right. So I'm gonna add an if. All right. And what an if does is it is used to add condition. All right. So it would check if the condition is either is true or is false, right? Now, if the condition is true, it will actually execute that line of code, all right? And if it's not, it will actually skip it, all right? Okay, let's see. So I'm gonna add a condition, all right? Actually, before I even add a condition, I'm gonna go over the condition operators, all right? Actually, yeah, I'm gonna add a condition first, then I'll discuss the condition operator, all right? So let's say 3 is greater than 5. Let's put this, all right? So don't worry about writing this line of code right now. Don't worry about this. Just look over this, all right? I'm gonna print it is greater, all right? All right. So give me a thumbs up if 3 is greater than 5, all right? If it's less than, just give me a thumbs out. All right. So is 3 greater than 5? Thumbs up? No? Thumbs down? Who can see? Okay. So when you add this, the condition, if 3 is greater than 5, all right, Python would check if the condition is true. All right. So if the condition is true, it will execute the next line of code. All right. But what if the condition is false? What will happen? All right. So let's find out. All right. Okay. So we got comment here. All right. I'm gonna rerun the code. All right, nothing's gonna happen, all right? And the reason why nothing's gonna happen is because Python can only execute the if statement if the condition is true, all right? So this condition is false, all right? So 3 is not greater than 5, all right? So when Python sees this, it's just gonna skip it, all right? So let's try a different scenario, all right? What if 3 is less than 5? All right, so what will happen in this situation, all right? Okay. So 3 is less than 5, all right? So Python will look over it, all right? So we have a keyword if. All right, so I'm going to check in condition, all right? So what is the condition? 3 is less than 5. And the condition is true. So now when the condition is true, it will actually execute the next line of code, all right? So I will click on run. And this is greater, all right? Kind of easy. All right, so give me a thumbs up if you guys understood this or was it a little confusing. All right, awesome. All right, so okay, so before I even go further, let's talk about like the condition operator. All right, so there's like a multiple condition operator that you can use for the if statement. All right, I'm gonna type it right here. Comment condition operator. Okay, so the first one, actually the first one we're gonna go over is actually the less than. All right. Okay, if it's less than, it will be true or false. All right. Next will be greater than. Okay. And actually, I'm gonna add another space. All right. All right. So I'll put less than, and then next one less than and equal to. All right. It's basically kind of like an or statement. All right. If it's less than or is it equal to that value, then the condition is true. All right. So to add that less than equal to, you add a less than symbol and an equal symbol. Then another one will be greater than and greater than equal to, right? So if the value is either greater or greater than equal to, then the condition either true or false, all right? Okay, and not equal, all right? So let's say, let's put like this scenario, all right? So I have 3 is not equal to 5. Is this condition true or false? Give me a thumbs up if it's true, or just give me a thumbs down if it's false. All right, so let's see, what does Python think, all right? I'm gonna change the statement, all right? Not equal. All right, not equal, okay? And the reason why this statement is true is because it's actually not equal, all right? So this is one thing I see a lot of beginner get a little confused just because of the word not, all right? Automatically they think like if it's not true, then it might be false, all right? But it's actually true. 3 is not equal to 5, and that statement is true, all right? And the last one is equal, all right? So a lot. This is one beginner's mistake that I see a lot of beginner coder use and get a little frustrated at the very beginning. Is they get confused with the double equal to the single equal. All right. So they will add, let's say, a condition like 3 equal to 5. All right. Normally, we will use this like in mathematical term, like equal is actually equal to another value. But in Python, they're actually two different. They're actually two different statements. All right. Double equal is not the same as single equal. All right. So a single equal, it is used to assign a value. All right. So when you create a variable and you try it, it's you pretty much when you try and create a variable. All right. You're trying to assign value. All right. So right here is basically you're trying to assign 5 to 3. All right. All right. So this is not really a conditional operator. It's not comparing. All right. So if you want to add an equal sign, it need to be actually a double equal. All right. You need to have 2 equal signs. This right here means basically is 3 equal to 5. All right. Okay. And then if you run a code, it's not going to print anything. And the reason for that is because it's not equal. So I'm going to add 5 equal to 5. Right? And then say it's not equal. All right. So what if we want to add a different code? All right. So let's say if the condition is not true, we wanted to execute another block of code. All right. All right. So actually before I go on talking about that, so one important thing that we got to remember. So when we add an if at the end, we need to add a colon, a double colon, right? We need to add a double colon to certify Python that this is actually a condition, all right? And then another thing is the spacing, all right? This part is actually very important, all right? So when you add, let's say, a condition like a if statement, it need to be spaced out, all right? A task space, because this will signify that this is actually belong to the if statement, all right? When you add, let's say like this, when you have it at the beginning, it does not belong to the if statement, all right? So spacing is very, very important in Python, all right? In other programming language, they don't really use spacing. Let's say, for example, Java, all right? So I'm going to use Java, for example. So you guys don't have to type this. So don't really type this part. This is just basically Java. So in Java, if you want to add a condition, you need to type in if, let's say parenthesis group 3 is equal to 5. I'm gonna add curly braces, right? And then I just put some random code, all right? So do like system dot out, all right? Don't copy this line of code, all right? This is just an example. Not equal. Oops. Not equal. Okay. So you will see this in Java and in many other programming. Instead of using spaces, they will use curly braces, all right? And then anything inside the curly brace will get executed, all right? But in Python, you don't do that. So in order for a code to belong to this block of code, like the if condition, it will need to be separated by spaces, right? All right. Did that make sense, guys? Just give me a thumbs up. Okay. All right. All right. So we have if, all right? And if the condition is true, it will execute that certain block of code, all right? But if it's not true, I want to execute something else, all right? And that something else will be called an else statement, all right? And else you don't have to add no condition. All you really need is the if condition, all right? So if you want to execute the else statement, you need to have a if condition. Okay. So else, and I'm going to do, let's say, print not equal. All right. So I'm going to remove the one at the top. All right. Is equal and not equal. Okay. And I'm going to do, let's say 3 is equal to 5. All right. All right. So else, what this does is that if the condition is not true, if the condition is false, then it will skip it. All right. And if that is false, then it will execute the else statement. All right. This is kind of like the fail safe, right? All right. So this is mainly used to use if like the statement is true. So you have a series of conditions, and if one condition didn't get executed, then you will execute the other condition. All right. So a common way is, let's say, a password generator. All right. Let's say I'm gonna create a variable. Let's say user input. Let's say user input, and then I put like password. All right. Say user input. I'll put, okay, so like I put like dog 123. All right, but let's pretend that we're trying to log into a website. All right, cat 123. All right. All right. So you can do condition with variables as well. So I'm gonna do user input. All right, user input, and then password. All right. So you can actually compare strings. Okay. And I'm gonna change the text. All right. Your password is correct. Incorrect password. Okay. Okay. So, all right. So we have two variables. All right. So we can pretend that I have an input and I just put input it, and we're asking the user what is the password, and I input a dog 123. all right? But the actual password is cat123, all right? All right, so let's say in the program, let's say we have a website, we're trying to log into Amazon, we type our user information, and then we try and type our password, and I type in dog123, but our password is cat123, all right? So on the back end, this is what it looked like, all right? So it will check for a password, all right? So user input is dog123 is equal to password123, all right? If it's equal, you log in, all right? So I'm gonna print out your password is correct. Else, you get an incorrect password, all right? So this is where you kind of use your else statement, all right? So if I run my code, I get an incorrect password, all right? That kind of makes sense, guys? Okay. All right. So let's say if I want to check not just one condition, but multiple condition, all right? So we have if, and then we have else, all right? If will get executed if the statement is true, and else will get executed when the statement is false, all right? Okay. But let's say if I want to check multiple condition, all right? I'll do elif, all right? So elif is basically like another else if, all right? It's another if statement, all right? Basically, it's called else if, all right? So if one condition get filled, I mean, one condition is not true, it will check the second condition, which is the else if, all right? And then you can use else if multiple times, all right? So you can add like 20 else if, all right? If condition one is not executed, then condition two will get executed. If that condition is not working, is not true, it will check the third one. If that one's not true, it will check the fourth one. If that one not true, it will check on the fifth one. All right, so on and so forth. All right. So I'll put, let's say, user input is equal to, let's say, password. Okay. And I'm gonna type in, let's say, print. You got the password right. All right. On second condition, I'm gonna put second condition. All right. Okay. So I'm gonna run my code. Okay, so let's see. Okay. Okay, I got it wrong. All right. So I'm gonna mix the variable with a string. All right. So instead of having password, I'm gonna do let's see, dog123. All right, dog123. So I'm gonna run my code. All right. You got the password on the second condition, which got executed on this line of code. All right. On line 45. All right. So when I ran my code, Python went a series of steps. All right. So I declare my variable. All right, dog123. Declare the second variable, password123. Check the first condition. All right. This condition, it was false. So it didn't execute this code. All right. But then it checked for this condition. All right. User input, which is dog123, is double equal to dog123. All right. And because if the condition is true, it will get this code executed. All right. Okay. All right. So we're going to do like 15 more minutes of Python. And then from there, we're going to be working with web dev. So we're going to transfer over to HTML. All right. All right. So the next one we're going to be working on is the loop statement. Actually, you guys understood like the else if, guys? Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs up. Okay. Okay. So, all right. So don't worry if you guys kind of get lost right now. All right. I know there's like a lot of information. All right. So this is a lot of information all at once. All right. So you just don't get discouraged by this. All right. This is perfectly normal. If right at the beginning you learn something new and you just feel like this is kind of like overwhelming, this is perfectly fine. All right. So you just don't just keep a positive attitude. All right. So I'm gonna comment out everything. All right. Because I don't want Python to run this code no more. All right. Oops. Okay. So, all right. So the next thing we're gonna learn is a loop. All right. So what a loop does, it works similarly to the if statement. All right. Except for the fact that so in the if statement, if the condition is true, it will execute that code once. All right. And where loop, what that does is if the condition is true, it will execute that code multiple times until that condition is false. All right. So it's gonna keep on executing that code multiple times until the condition is false. All right. So, all right. So I'm gonna call loop. All right. Loop. And what that does, basically, I'm gonna put equal. Execute the code multiple time until the condition is false. Okay. Okay. So we're gonna work with two loops. All right. We're gonna work on the while loop and the for loop. All right. So I'm gonna create a variable called x. All right. And I'm gonna assign it to an integer data type, which is equal to 0. All right. All right. So we want to use a loop. The first one is we're gonna use a while loop. All right. While x is less than 10, now add a colon. I want to print out x. All right. I'm gonna print out x. All right. So it's gonna print out the value of x. All right. So do not execute. So if once you have this code written, do not execute because you will definitely crash your computer on this part. All right. All right. So what this does is basically it will check the condition. X is less than 10. If it's true, it will print out and then it will go back to line 52 to check the condition. All right. So x is 0 and it's less than 10. It's true. It's going to print out x. All right. And it's going to keep doing it until the condition is false. All right. So it's pretty much going inside every loop. So that's why it's called a loop. All right. It's just going around in circle multiple times. All right. So if I run this code, I will actually crash my computer. So and then I will have to like relog in. All right. So don't run your code just yet. All right. So okay. So how can I run this code if this code is gonna crash the computer? All right. So what we need to do is make the condition false, all right? And what we can do is increase the value of x, all right? So you guys remember like the math operation that we did? So like say 3 times 3, 3 plus let's say 5, right? We can do math operation to assign value to x, all right? So it is 0 right now, and I want to increase that value by 1, okay? So I'm going to just put x is equal to x and plus 1. Okay. Okay, so let's see what's going on over here. All right. So basically I have printed x, which is gonna be 0, and I'm reassigning that value. So 0 is equal to 0 plus 1. All right. And this new value is gonna be 1. All right. And there's gonna be 1 less than 10. And then it's gonna do that again. Print out 1. 1 is equal to 1 plus 2, which is 2. All right. And this is how it will look like when you run your code. All right. So make sure you have, before you run your code, make sure you have this. And as a matter of fact, I'm actually gonna print out the code as well. So that way you guys can have it. Right. So if you actually run the code without it, you're gonna end up crashing it. Okay. All right. So if I run it, okay. 0 to 9. Okay. Okay, so were you guys able to do it? Give me a thumbs up, thumbs down. All right. Okay. Okay, so this is where like a lot of beginner when they first start learning programming start to get a little more frustrated, all right? So once they get past like the variable, They get past the print statement. They start learning the data type. Then they learn the if condition. Once they hit, this is where once they hit the loop, this is when they start like getting scared and getting frustrated. It's like, oh my god, what is this? So much stuff. All right, and it's perfectly fine. So don't get a little frustrated if you're just not getting it. It's perfectly normal at the beginning. All right. Okay, so let's just break it down. All right, what's going on? Okay, so I'm gonna annotate. Okay. Okay, so basically what happened right here is that it's just so loop is basically like a statement that get executed multiple times, all right? So we have 0 less than 10, all right? All right, and then in line 53, you're gonna print out the value, all right? So it's gonna be, I'm gonna put print 0, all right? Because the value is actually 0 from the start, all right? This is what's happening, all right? Print 0, and then the next code, line 54, the value is 0, and we're adding the value by 1, all right? So it's gonna be 0 plus 1, okay? So now instead of being 0 less than 10, now it's 1 less than 10. And then instead of printing out 0 on the next line, it's gonna print out 1, which is right here on the second line. And instead of meaning 0 equals 0 plus 1, it's gonna be 1 equal to 1 plus 1, all right? And then it's gonna give it to 2. So I'm gonna cross this out, 2 less than 10, cross out 1 to 2, and then it's gonna print out 3 now. Actually, it's gonna change from 2 to 3. Okay, oops. 2. So 2 plus 2 equal 3. And then so on and so forth, right? So this is what it's doing, all right? So it's pretty much just going around in circles. So it's just going, take the condition, print, assign new value, and then go back, all right? So it's pretty much just going in a circle. So it's going in a circle, going in a circle, and just doing it multiple times. So that's why they call it a loop, all right? So it's pretty much going in a loop until the condition is false, all right? Okay. Any question, guys? All right. So this is, let me see, oh, still in annotation mode. All right. So this is how you create a loop in a while. So actually, I'm gonna put it right here in the comment. 2 loops, 2 different type of loops. All right, 2 loops. Type while and for. All right. Okay. So this is one of them. So we did the while loop, and the second one we're gonna learn is the for loop. All right. So so in order to create a for loop, you would just type in the keyword for, and you can't. So if you want to create a variable, you can't use the keyword for. Okay. All right. So how the for loop works? You would type in the keyword for, and then type in you need to create a random variable for index. So I'm going to use, let's say I, for I in and whatever value. All right. So we're gonna learn a new function. All right. So the first function we learned was the print, and print is just print values onto the console. All right. So this is gonna be a second function. All right. And this function is called range. All right. And basically, we're just telling it to go to a certain range from anywhere from 1 to 100. All right. So for I in range, I'm gonna put, let's say 100 colon, and I'm gonna print I. All right. So so in this scenario, you don't have to add a value to make it false. All right. It will do it for you. Okay. So if I do, well, not X, it'll be for I. All right. For I. And then we're gonna keep on printing. All right. It go from 0 all the way to 100. Or I can do, let's say 25. 0 to 24, all right? And I'm gonna actually paste this code for you guys, all right? For I in range 25, or maybe for I in range 10, okay? Okay. Just give me a thumbs up if you guys were able to do it. All right, awesome. All right. All right, so the last one we're gonna do for Python is actually a function, all right? Okay, and then after the function, then we're gonna be working with web dev, all right? Okay, so web dev is gonna be a little more easier, all right? Okay, so a function, all right? So we have worked with two functions so far, all right? So print is a function and range is a function, all right? So what is a function? All right. So basically, a function is a collection of code that does something. All right. That code can print out a value, it can go from range, calculate average. It can be whatever you want it to be. All right. And there's like thousands of millions of function that's out there that you can use. In programming, you can actually create your own personal function. All right. And in order to create your personal function, you type in, let's say, the keyword diff. All right. Diff. And I'm gonna put, let's say, print 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 favorite. I'm gonna put print favorite, right? Okay. Okay, so how would this work? All right. So you need to have a keyword diff and any type of value, right? So it doesn't have to be print favorite. You can add, let's say, just add favorite. So it can be whatever name that you want. All right. And then followed by parenthesis. All right, and colon. Okay. Now inside of it, you can add any type of code. All right. So it can be up to you. What are you trying to do with this function? What do you want to do? All right. So I have a function called favorite. What I want to do with a function called favorite. All right. So I personally want to print out let's say three favorite something, three sentences of my favorite anything. All right. Favorite subject. All right. So I'm gonna do, let's say, my favorite subject is music. All right. I'm gonna do, let's say, my favorite food is taco. Print. My favorite hobby is, let's see, oops, gotta misspell. Hobby is, let's say, building games. All right. So I kind of like to build like mobile games. All right. Okay. All right. So now I create a function called favorite. Now, if I want to use it, you just have to type in favorite, right? Favorite. Actually, before I get started, I'm gonna first comment out everything. All right, so that way I can show you. Okay. Let's see, we have no code running. All right. So I create a function, all right? Function called favorite, all right? And it has multiple print statement. Okay. So if I run my code, nothing's gonna happen. All right. Nothing's gonna happen. And the reason for that is because we gotta call it, all right? So in order to call it, we type in the keyword favorite. All right. And then it will print out your favorite subjects or anything, all right? So it doesn't have to be print. You can do map operation in here. So I can like, let's say, I can remove all this. I can do print 5 plus 3. Okay. You can add, let's say, you can add all the other stuff like the if statement, the while loop, the else if. So you can add basically a function is basically a combination of code that will do something, all right? And that something can be whatever you want it to do, whatever you need it to do. So you can maybe add a function that calculate the average or calculate the sum, right? All right, so any question, guys? All right, so we're gonna wrap it up for Python. Okay. So so the next one we're gonna be working with HTML web dev, all right? And we're gonna do a little bit of 15 minutes of web dev, all right? And this is gonna be a little more easier than Python, all right? So Python, so like let's go back to the PowerPoint. So when I say like what is your greatest strength? What is your weakness? What's your favorite subject? I mean, what's your interest? All right. So Python is very, very like more, you have to think very, very logically, all right? With web dev, you have more freedom of expression, all right? You can just type whatever you want to type, all right? All right, so let's go ahead and create a new file, all right? So let's go to the top right, top left. And I'm gonna click on create. And let's click on HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. All right. So let me know give me a thumbs up if you guys are here, all right? So you just click on create and look for HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Okay. Give me thumbs up. Thumbs up. You guys got it? Okay. All right. Okay, so once you created a web dev, the HTML, CSS, JavaScript, right? You get followed by some template, all right? So don't get discouraged right off the beginning when you see all this code, all right? It's perfectly fine at the beginning. Learning web dev can be a little daunting just because right off the bat they throw you like this template, but it's perfectly normal, all right? All right, so what I want you to guys do is go all the way at the bottom where it says hello world, right? Okay. When you go hello world, let's delete it, all right? So this is gonna be totally different than what we did with Python, totally different, all right? So what you learn in Python is not gonna be applicable in HTML. So this is HTML, all right? And what HTML is basically a markup language used to build website, right? Okay. So, all right. So let's say, so right now I'm gonna show you some basically styling, not styling, basic adding tags, all right? So in HTML, or a tag is basically used to adding content on your page, all right? So I'm gonna show you like the first tag that we're gonna learn, all right? And that's called the header tag, all right? And to add a header tag, you add a H1 tag. So it'll be like left angle, H1, right angle, right? And it will give you autocomplete. So make sure this is actually inside the body, all right? So look for body and it need to be inside of it, right? And then I'm gonna type in, let's say, hello world from Replit. Okay. And then if I click run, I get hello world from Replit. All right. And I'm also gonna paste this tag onto the code. Okay. So here's a cool thing about Replit when you're working with website. All right. So if you click on at the top right, open in a new tab, it's gonna redirect you to an actual page, all right? And this website is actually hosted, all right? So if you give this link to like let's say a friend, they can actually see this page, all right? So I'm gonna paste this code on the link and you guys can see it. Right? So if you click on the link, you should be able to see hello world from Replit, right? So it's already kind of published out in the world where everybody can see it. Right? So give me a thumbs up if you guys understand it or you guys able to do it. Okay. All right. So, all right. So basically a header is used to like display information, all right? It's like a kind of like basically a title, all right? It's used to make it pop out so that way user can understand how to navigate, all right? And HTML is used for you to build website, all right? So there's a lot of different type of tags in HTML. So the one we just encounter is called a header, and there's like multiple type of headers, all right? And this can range from H1 all the way to H6, all right? So I'm going to show you right now, all right? So H2, this is, I'm going to put header 2, H3, header 3, H4, header 4, H5, header 5, H6, and header 6, all right? Okay, before I run it, so what does this mean? So I put like H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, H6, all right? So H1, anything that with H is our header, all right? And it's ranging from 1 to 6, all right? So 1 is like the largest one, and it's used for like titling, and then 6 is the smallest one. If I run my code. All right, and it should print that out, all right? And if I go to the actual website, if I run it, reload, I get this. All right. Okay. All right, so there are many different type of tags, all right? So this is a type of structure when it comes to working with HTML, all right? So you have what is called an opening tag, which is at the beginning. So it's gonna be a left angle, whatever symbol you're adding, and a right angle. And then you have a closing tag. So you need an opening and a closing tag, all right? And then in between is where you add what type of content you wanna add, all right? So you just put header, hello world from Replit, header 2, header 3, header 4, and header 5, and header 6, all right? Okay, so that's like the basic formatting, the basic styling of just writing code in HTML. Okay, so it's not really more about logic in HTML. It's just basically you're just adding content. You're just adding content. All right. So if I go to the left hand side, all right. So you see we have an index.html. All right. So in web dev, you can be working with 3 different type of files. All right. Actually, 3 type of technology: index.html, style.css, and script.js, all right? So we're going to be just focusing for the remainder just the index.html. But to explain a little further, basically HTML is basically used to add content. And then we got CSS, which will look like this. And that is used to style your web page, all right? And then we have JS, and JS is basically a programming language, kind of like Python, right? But this is mainly used for the web, right? So what a CSS does is basically style page. So you guys don't have to worry about this part, all right? So don't really type it, all right? I'm just showing you for demonstration. Okay, so I'm gonna put background color. And I'm gonna type in, let's say, I'm gonna put blue, all right? If you're the type of person who like creativity, so this is like the fun part. You will do like a lot of styling. So you can do color, let's say white. All right, maybe I can like change the font size, or actually font family, Arial. How about a different font? All right. So yeah, this is like the fun part. You get to like play around with colors, shape, size, location. You can like move it. I can like, let's say, center it. All right. Text align center. Okay. All right, so don't worry about adding the styling. All right, so this is just demonstrating what CSS does. All right, CSS is basically used for styling. All right, and HTML is just used to adding content, and then JavaScript is used to make interaction. All right, so I'm not gonna go over the JS right now. All right, I'm just gonna focus right now just for index. I'm gonna focus on HTML. All right, so now, all right, all right, so we just added a header. All right. Let's add something else, all right? I'm gonna show you another thing called a paragraph, all right? And this is used to add big line of text, long line of text. So you're trying to add a paragraph or just some sentence, you use a paragraph tag. And to use it, you need to have the P, right? You add the opening tag P and then the closing tag P, right? And here you can add you can add any type of sentence. So I'm gonna put I am learning how to build website in HTML. All right, so we got that. So there are like many different type tags that you can use. So we did like H1 through H6. We got the P tag. I'm gonna add an anchor tag. Let's say anchor tag, which is a link. All right. So I'm gonna type in. Let me see. Um, Give me 1 second. I'll put, let's say, google.com. It's kind of slow right now. Okay, let me copy the URL. And I'm gonna put this right here. All right. And I'm gonna put redirect to Google. Right. All right. Okay, so I have a link. So what a tag is a link, all right? All right, so when you add the a tag, you add a word right here, all right? You just add any word. So I just add redirect to Google, all right? All right. In the href is basically the URL location. Where do you want the user to redirect? And I'm also gonna add the link onto the chat, all right? So I'm gonna post that link, the a tag, so that way guys can copy it. Okay, so the href basically mean where do I want my website, where do I want the user to be redirected when he clicked that link? All right, he or she clicked that link. So I just put google.com. All right, so I'm gonna run it, and I'm gonna run it on this one. All right, so I'm gonna run it on the actual website. So I'm gonna click on redirect to Google, and it's gonna redirect me to Google. All right, I can also do it to Amazon. Amazon. Okay, I'll copy this, and then put it right here, Amazon. I'm gonna run it. I'm gonna go back. Let me refresh it. And I'm going to change the word also. Redirect to Amazon. All right. Refresh it. Oops. Nope. I just messed it up. Let me open it again. Redirect to Amazon. Click on it. And it's redirected to Amazon. All right. Okay. All right. So how do you guys like the seminar? You guys learned a lot? Awesome. All right. So yeah, technology is a very big field. So you got many pathway, all right? So I showed you guys like two different pathway. So you got Python, which is is a very easy language to learn, and you can do a lot of cool things. And then HTML, all right? HTML is basically used to build website, and then you can add content, all right? So if you're like a creative person and you like to basically build like user interface or like to work with colors, like I recommend like learning like web dev. All right. All right. So I'm gonna wrap this up. All right. I'm gonna pass this over to Sankit.
Thank you, Gerson. Thank you for all your insights. And I'm pretty sure our participants and all the people watching on our social media platform like the session. Now, we move on to the question and answer session. So anybody has any question, feel free to go ahead and ask. You can type it in the chat box, and I'll be more than happy to go ahead and take that forward. Anybody has any question, guys? Right, Gerson, I have one question coming in from one of our Facebook pages. Somebody's saying that how hard it is for a non-technical guy to learn coding.
So when it comes to like learning, just when it comes to like learning anything, at the very beginning, it's gonna be very difficult. All right, just because you're actually kind of like learning something new. So like when you learn something new, it's gonna be automatically difficult. So it doesn't have to be technology. It can be like say you want to learn an instrument right off the bat. At the beginning, it's gonna be very difficult because you're gonna learn new content that you have never been exposed of. All right. So the key thing is not asking how difficult it is what do I need to learn to get good at it, all right? And then what do I need to do to get good at learning that technology, all right? So it's like for me, right off the bat, at the beginning, I didn't really understand it. So like when I was like learning how to code in community college, right off the bat, I wasn't really understanding it. And the reason for it is I wasn't really studying it, all right? So like I go to class and they just told me the topic, and then I kind of just forgot about it in 2 weeks later. And then it kind of got pretty difficult at the beginning. So I changed my mindset. Instead of just like going to class and just not studying afterward, I try to commit 2 hours per day just studying the topic. All right. And just changing that type of mindset and that type of behavior made programming a lot more easier. And I seen a lot. So like when I was like learning it in college, I saw a lot of students who didn't practice it on a daily basis, or at least like on a weekly basis. All right. So it's all depend on you. So if you decide like to pursue coding, you will have to like dedicate some time just like learning the material. So if you once you dedicate some time, it become very easy afterward, right? Did that answer your question?
Well, yes, you did. There's another question that I see coming up. It is just 1 minute. There are a few actually coming on. How can I learn coding if I don't have a computer to practice?
That's a very good question. So, so if you want to start learning coding, it's kind of necessary to learn to have a computer, all right? So it's kind of like learning a skill, all right? So if you ask, how can I learn how to play a guitar without having the guitar, all right? So you can't really learn how to use that tool if you don't have the tool. So I say the first step of learning how to do it is actually have to have the tool set, all right? So you can like start off just so maybe you might be in a financial difficult, all right? And it's understandable, all right? So you can like start off like learning like technology. So like what is you can try to learn like the keywords, all right? So what is HTML, all right? So HTML is basically a markup language to learn the web dev, all right? So you won't be able to learn how to code, but you can still understand some type of like jargon, some type of technology keywords, all right? So if there's like an issue like financially, you can start learning like some of the software skill, all right? So like start learning like the technologies, all right? So what do I need to do to become a game developer, right? So what is used in the industry? All right. So if I can, you can like type in Google, okay, game developer. What does game developer use? All right. So they use something called Unity. What is Unity? All right. And it's basically a game manager used to build games. All right. So but in order to learn how to code, you kind of need the tool. So at some point you will have to get the tool and actually start working on it. All right. Did that answer your question?
Well, seems like it for sure. There are a few more coming in, Gerson. I'll just bring them one after the other. So somebody says that I am from arts background and I want to learn coding. Will companies consider me since I am not a science graduate?
Um, so you have an art background and you're not a science graduate. So it's also like, so let's go back to the PowerPoint when I was giving it. So based on your strength and weakness, all right? So art can still be a useful skill, all right? So a lot of companies would love to have artists in the company. And why would they want to have an artist, all right? So let's focus on gaming company. Let's say you work at Blizzard. Let's say you try and build World of Warcraft or Overwatch, all right? You have a transferable skill, all right? So if you can transfer that traditional skill to digital skill, on top of that, learning coding and use that to build a game, that can actually make you more actually ahead of other people who don't have like that art skill, right? It's like for me right now, I'm actually learning digital art because I want to get into like also do game development. So I've been like learning a little bit of Unity. But see, and people with like the art skill have a little more legwork if they go focus on that pathway, let's say the gaming route, or also on the pathway of UX or UI design or creativity. Naturally, as an artist, you will be a little more creative compared to someone who's non-creative. Even though you don't have like the coding background, you still have that learning background, that discipline of learning a skill set. All right. Did I answer that question?
Well, yes, you did. Another question that I have coming in: how relevant is it for a CA student, CA as in chartered accountant, I'm guessing, to learn coding? Will it do any benefits for somebody from a
Sure.
finance background, I guess?
Okay. Shardy on cutting. So it's gonna be the same thing with the art student. I mean, with the art on the artist student. All right. So again, so you have a strength, which is finance. All right. So now, once you learn how to code, how can you combine finance with coding? All right. So a lot of this is going to be a beginner mistake. A lot of beginner will go into, well, once you kind of graduate to like a professional level, you're going to be working with business. All right. And a lot of people will want someone who's competent with technology. But if you also are competent with technology as well as competent with the business, they're going to want you more just because you have that like the finance knowledge. All right. And on top of that, there's like a lot of sector where they actually need someone who understand finance to build products with coding. All right. So let's say building technology in the financial industry, we'll still need to learn how to do some finance, some basic understanding of finance. Or let's say the crypto market. All right. So there's a lot of little mathematical formula, a lot of mathematical ideas that you need to add as well as knowledge. You will still need to have that type of knowledge. All right. So it could still work with you. All right. So yeah, you gotta use your skill as strength. So going back like to the PowerPoint, so you gotta like kind of list out what direction do I want to do. All right. So with finance, you can actually get into like say crypto market and learn how to build technology like in the blockchain. Or you can head to like the on the tech finance. All right. So there's a lot of company that want someone who understand like the financial literacy and the coding background. Okay.
Okay. Another one, well, this is also an interesting question. I am terrible at mathematics. I passed, but don't ask how. I have no idea. Can I still learn to code?
Definitely yes. I'm in the same I'm the same way. So I'm not good at math. So again, with going back with on the PowerPoint, it depends on what pathway you want to go. All right. So let's say you're not good at math. All right. I don't want, and you definitely dislike math. All right. Me telling you, let's say you need to take data analytic will actually be kind of bad. But you, let's say you're a creative person, so you can build website. So you don't really have to. You will still have some math. You need to understand how to solve some math problem, but it's not really math heavy. All right. So let's take for example for web dev. All right. So you will be mostly adding content, styling the page, and making it interactive. All right. And depending what route you want to go, you want to go to full stack where you have to actually build the whole entire website from front end to back end, or you want to take on the user interface route where you want to make like the best looking user interface. All right. So don't get discouraged because if you didn't know how to if you're not good at math. All right. So even so you don't get discouraged if you don't understand math. So the technology is a very big world and there's like a place for you if you don't understand math. So I said keep a like a positive mindset.
That is very well said, Gerson. Another question that I have is, I am 38. Is it too late to start?
It's never too late to start coding. So anybody can get started. So you can get started at 18 or you can get started at 15, right? So this so coding you can get started learning this skill at any time in your life, all right? So the best time to get started is actually now. So once you got interest, you start like researching. All right, so what do I want to do with programming? All right, what do I want to build? Where do I see myself? All right, do I see myself working in a company? Do I see myself building a product? Do I see myself using it as a hobby? So where do I see myself? All right, but yeah, so you can still get started at any point in your life, right?
That is true, Gerson. And I would just like to add to that, we have students who are in their 40s right now, learning data science, cybersecurity, software development, just as to speak. So if they can do it, anybody can. I'll take one more question. This is also an interesting one. What do you recommend the configuration that I should get in order to go ahead and start learning coding? Basically, I guess what he wants to know is the computer configuration. What is recommended?
Like what type of computer?
Like the processor, the RAM, the operating system. That's what I think.
Okay, so computer. All right, so computer. So I'm trying to rethink. All right, so I'm trying based on my experience. All right, so as a beginner, I made a mistake when I was learning how to code. All right, so I bought like a very cheap laptop. It was like I had like some financial issue back then. All right, and I did like full stack web dev. All right, so it was a very slow process. I think it was an i3. And then when it came to that, so like when I was running like a Ruby on Rails server and React, it just ended up crashing. All right, so you want to have like a decent processor. So if you're like on Windows, maybe have something with like an i5 processor with like at least maybe 12 gig of RAM. So that should like at least get you somewhere. Or you can have a lot of MacBook, all right? So if you take like the MacBook route, you will get like pretty much stuck in the Mac ecosystem. So you also have to think about operating system. So where do you want to work on? Windows, Mac, or Linux, all right? So if you, let's say, buy a MacBook, you will get stuck with the Mac ecosystem and you can start learning some of the Mac technology. So like how to build like mobile app for the iOS, or you can do the same thing on Windows, right? So for me, my recommendation is I would say you start low. Let's say get an eye for eye process. Don't get something expensive and you just like practice with it, right?
Awesome. I just have time for one last question before I wrap it up. So I have another question coming in that says, what kind of job can I expect after learning programming?
Okay, so that's it's also then it depend up to you. So where do you want to go? All right. So for me, I like to teach. So I'm enjoy teaching others how to learn. All right. So you can get started as a teacher, a TA. You can get started as a software developer, data analytic. You can get started as a freelancer, as well as you can also build your own project, start your own YouTube channel. So just learning how to code will open up many doors. So it's like very a large opportunity. All right. So you can work for a company, you can work for a smart startup, you can work at a Fortune 500 company, you can go into research. So it's like the field is very big. All right.
Awesome. I think we are going to call it a day now. Thank you, Gerson. Thank you for your time. And thank you, all our listeners today, all our attendees today. It was really nice connecting with all of you. And I hope you learned something new. If you want to watch it again, you can watch the recording from our YouTube and our LinkedIn page. And in order to go ahead and make sure that your learning is synchronized and done in the right direction, Career has a lot of data science, cybersecurity, and full stack software development programs as we speak right now. So we encourage you to get in touch with us so that we can go ahead and assist you in choosing the right career option. So on that note, I would like to say thank you once again. Pearson, any last words from you for our audience today?
All right, so with coding, so at the beginning, it's gonna be very challenging and scary, but I'll say one piece of advice is actually keep a positive attitude. All right, just keep a positive mindset and just know that at some point you will get good at it. All right, so at the beginning, it's not gonna be I won't say very easy, but it won't don't get discouraged. All right, at some point it will definitely get easy. All right, so just keep at it and just keep moving forward and keep it positive.
Thank you, Gerson. Thank you for your words. And thank you, all of you, for attending this session. On that note, this is me, Sanket, and Karira signing off. You guys have a wonderful day ahead. Bye bye. Take care and stay safe. Have a lovely day ahead. Bye bye.